A deleted final showdown for Black Widow and more Red Guardian, Taskmaster and Yelena moments were all cut from the final version of the movie. Yippee-ki-yay movie lovers, I'm Jan, and in this video I'm revealing all the deleted scenes from Black Widow, a post-credits moment that teased Natasha's return from the dead, plus the Avenger cameo you never got to see. Spoilers ahead of course, so take care. The Black Widow post-credits scene sees Yelena visit Natasha's tombstone in Ohio, and as she mourns her sister, she whistles softly. This is the same whistle that the sisters used to call each other as children, and which they also did as they parted at the end of the movie. In the end credits scene, after Yelena whistles, there's a brief pause as she waits or hopes for a response, as do we, but there isn't one. However, Black Widow director Cate Shortland has now revealed in an interview with Variety that there were discussions about including a whistle reply in the scene. Natasha of course died in Endgame when she gave her life in return for the Soul Stone, and together with Tony Stark, she's one of the few Avengers that have so far remained dead in the MCU. If Yelena had heard a reply to her whistle, even if it seemed like it wasn't real and she'd imagined it, then I expect it would have fueled lots of speculation that Natasha could soon return in an upcoming MCU project, similar to some fans' wishful hoping about Iron Man's hammer sound at the end of Endgame. Many other dead Marvel characters have already made a return to the MCU, including Vision and Loki, albeit in different versions and timelines, and even Coulson was reanimated for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after Loki killed him in the Avengers, so I wouldn't be totally opposed to the OG Black Widow returning if it was done in the right way. After all, we don't know exactly what happens to a character when they go to the MCU version of the Soul World, and whether there's any way they could be retrieved. Thanos saw and spoke to a young version of dead Gamora after he snapped, a hint that the Soul World could be accessible perhaps. Of course, there'd be many fans who'd love for Natasha to return in a Black Widow sequel or even a different movie, and I think that including the whistle response would have given fans the impression that Marvel was committed to doing that in some way, which is my guess for why they ultimately didn't do it. Leave a thumbs up if you wish there'd been a whistle response, and let me know whether you think Natasha should come back from the dead. The main events of the movie culminate with Team Natasha taking out Dreykov, liberating his brainwashed widows, and crashing the airborne Red Room to the ground. As Secretary Ross, together with a large military convoy, heads towards the crash site, Nat sends her adoptive family and the Red Room survivors away, while she waits to face the music alone. What exactly happens next is left to our imagination as the film cuts to black, before returning with an epilogue scene set 2 weeks later that shows Natasha is still free. Footage from the Black Widow trailers, however, indicates that originally there was an alternate or extended version of this ending where Ross gets out to survey the scene together with his SWAT team from the beginning of the movie. You can see from the Hungarian writing on the truck behind Ross that the Red Room appeared to crash down somewhere in Hungary, perhaps even near Budapest. There's also deleted footage in the trailers of armed marksmen emerging from cars and scores of military personnel taking up positions among the wreckage of the Red Room, with their sights presumably set on Natasha. It seems like this would have been an almost impossible situation for Natasha to escape from by herself, although given some of the crazy fun action in the movie, it's not unfeasible to think that she would have found a way out, given she and Hawkeye survived a shootout with the Hungarian Special Forces many years earlier. It's also possible that she somehow struck a deal with Ross or tricked him again in some way, though I don't think he'd be especially amenable to a negotiation. There were some great moments with David Harbour's Red Guardian while he's locked up in the Russian prison, and we find him bragging about the supposed battles he had with Captain America.
What year was this?
Like 83, 84.
Captain America was still frozen in ice then.
And the prison break scene when Natasha and Yelena come to rescue him originally included more extensive Red Guardian combat scenes. The marketing material show him fighting other prisoners who got out after a prison riot kicked off. And in some behind-the-scenes footage, we can also see Alexei fighting off a pack of prison guards, whereas in the final version, Red Guardian's only encounter with a guard is while he's climbing up one of the walls. I suspect the longer prison fight was cut for time, given the final movie was already 2¼ hours long, though personally I never felt the film dragged. Some more Red Guardian moments from the trailers that didn't make it into the final movie include Alexei flexing and admiring his muscles in Melina's bathroom, which is deleted from the scene where he decides to put on his old Red Guardian suit. We also don't get to see him putting on his helmet as he does here in the promos. And Alexei's reaction after he leaves the bathroom with his costume on is noticeably different in the trailer compared to the final movie.
Still fits.
It still fits.
Speaking to Inverse, director Cate Shortland said that there was a good deal of improvisation on set, especially during the dinner table reunion, and I found some more dialogue by Alexei for that scene in the trailers that wasn't used in the final film.
You got fat.
Smelly water, wait.
In the final version of the movie, this is how that exchange goes instead.
You got fat, but still good.
I just got out of prison. I have a lot of energy.
Please don't do that.
Also in the trailers, but not in the final film, is footage of Taskmaster watching Black Widow fight and analysing her moves.
His call sign's Taskmaster.
And that line from Yelena did not make it into the final film either. By the way, the footage from that cutscene is actually taken from Natasha's hallway fight in Iron Man 2. In the final movie, Taskmaster analyses Natasha's moves during the fight on the bridge rather than in advance, and instead we see the antagonist studying a Hawkeye fight scene, which sets up the Taskmaster arrow attack on Nat and Yelena in Budapest. There's also a small piece of dialogue that Dreykov appears to say to Taskmaster in the trailers that wasn't in the final film.
Bring her home.
This appears to imply that originally part of Taskmaster's mission was to capture Natasha or Yelena and take her to the Red Room, rather than just retrieve the antidote vials, which was her main mission in the finished film. The story of who was underneath the mask and how she was part of Natasha's Red Ledger fitted well with the overall theme of the movie about the abuse of girls and women. However, I think the movie's promotional material led many fans to believe that Taskmaster was going to be a much bigger villain. For example, the way one trailer was cut even implied that Taskmaster was going to be the big bad rather than Dreykov.
His call sign's Taskmaster. He controls the Red Room.
I really enjoyed the film, however the marketing may well have set the wrong expectations for fans going into the movie when it came to Taskmaster's role. Natasha and Yelena also had some deleted and alternate versions of their scenes in Budapest. After their fight in the apartment, this quip from Natasha was cut from the final movie.
It's good to see you too, sis.
And then there's a line from Yelena that appeared in a lot of the promos for the film.
Natasha, my sister, after all this time, what brings you home?
I can see why this was cut, as it doesn't make a lot of sense in the movie, given it was Yelena who sent Natasha the vials of antidote together with their childhood photo in the first place, so Yelena already knew why Natasha had come home. And there's also a deleted line from Yelena's dialogue about what she imagined Natasha's life would have been like in America.
You're thinking about moving, but you're gonna wait until the interest rates go down.
We did get to briefly see some of the Red Room widows training in unison after Team Natasha arrived on the floating platform. However, as you might expect for any big film like this, and as we can see from the trailers, a lot more footage was shot of the widows' training choreography that didn't make it into the final cut. And a cameo by Tony Stark was also apparently on the cards, according to a September 2019 Deadline report from the Saturn Awards, where it was stated that, quote, Downey will be seen in the role of Stark one more time in the Marvel prequel Black Widow. Clearly Tony Stark wasn't in the movie, although Yelena did mention him at one point as one of Natasha's Avenger scientist friends who she thought could help analyse the mind control antidote formula.
Why don't you take it to one of your super scientist friends? Tony Stark, maybe?
Given their final words in Civil War though, I doubt they'd have been on speaking terms during the main events of Black Widow, so I don't think it would have made a lot of sense for him to appear in the film.
T'Challa told Ross what you did, so they're coming for you.
I'm not the one that needs to watch their back.
Still, possible scenarios where he might have fit would have been via a flashback or reusing footage from a previous movie, like when Thor Ragnarok used an Age of Ultron clip of Natasha to calm the Hulk and bring Banner back. Alternately, Tony could have been a voice over the phone, similar to how Hawkeye's voice was in the movie during the flashback to the assassination attempt on Dreykov.
We need confirmation Dreykov's in the building.
Since recording this video, Cate Shortland has revealed in an interview with Games Radar that initially there were discussions about whether any of the other Avengers or existing Marvel characters should be involved in the movie, but in the end both she and Kevin Feige agreed that, quote, she doesn't need the boys. We didn't want it to feel like she needs the support, we want her to stand alone, and she does. And if you want to see all the Black Widow connections to the MCU which did make it into the final movie, things you missed in the post-credit scenes, and the secret link between Bucky and the Red Room, tap here to watch my Black Widow MCU changes video or follow the link in the video description. So do you wish any of these deleted scenes had been in the final movie, and do you think we'll ever see Black Widow again on screen? Comment with your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed this then do like and share the video, I really appreciate it. You can tap left for my full Black Widow breakdown or tap right for another video you're sure to like. Thanks for watching and see you next time, yippee-ki-yay movie lovers!